And that was the second time I got chlamydia. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Didn't know you'd get it twice.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us for episode 3 of The Enthusiast. I'm one of your hosts, Will Zabo. Alongside with me, the Dark Knight, Jesse Nazario.
It gets weird every time. I thought the man that knows everything last time was weird. Dark Knight, all right. I'll take that.
How's it going?
It's going all right. It's going all right. Got a new little studio down here, kind of. By a new studio, I mean extra room in my basement.
Yes.
Yes.
We're going to slowly work on it, fix it up. So I called you the Dark Knight this week.
Yeah.
Because you were really excited about the CW crossover.
Correct.
That just happened.
Yes. That was super awesome and super great that you didn't watch because you're out of it.
Yeah, I fell out of love with the Arrow series ever since the whole Ra's al Ghul thing. Flash has been something that I think has been consistently good. I heard nothing but bad things about Supergirl at first, so that I never got into. And then because I kind of stopped watching them, I just never watched Legends of Tomorrow. But you told me that this crossover that just happened...
It was very well received. The ratings were extremely well for it, so they're talking about putting just a crossover out on Blu-ray. But overall, I loved it. The Dominators, the alien race, came to invade Earth, and all 4 shows teamed up to handle it. And it was the chemistry between all of them. It was amazing, and it was a Justice League movie before the Justice League movie comes out next year. You know what I mean? It was a way to see all of them working together.
That's pretty awesome. Now, would you say they did as good of a job as Avengers does with giving all these actors enough screen time? Or would you say they kind of fell short with some?
You know what? I'm going to say the Avengers had the advantage because it was definitely the Arrow and Flash show. It focused on those two.
Okay.
A little Supergirl sprinkled in because that girl's, attractive. They want to show her as much as they can.
She is cute.
But the Legends of Tomorrow characters, they literally threw them in and out like toilet paper. It was cycling through different characters for all 4 episodes. So it definitely focused on Flash and Arrow, but let's be honest, everybody cares about Flash and Arrow anyway.
Okay.
So.
And where do you think they're going to go after that?
I don't know. The season finale for all of them were pretty good. I don't think we're going to get a crossover for a while. I think they did that. My question is, according to this universe, Supergirl, Flash, and Arrow are all in 2 different Earths still. So
Okay.
for her to come over, they had to explain her coming from her Earth to our Earth. I'm hoping they eventually do it in the storyline where we can all be on the same Earth.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because Supergirl in her last episode before the crossover hinted towards Batman, and I want Batman in this universe so bad.
And you just told me recently that they just got the rights back for Batman.
Correct.
So what do you think they're going to do with that? Because we've talked about it before where Arrow really seems like he's the Batman of this universe. So how do you think Bruce Wayne fits into this?
I don't know, because Arrow's hinted to Nightwing before in his series, and they've always kind of hinted to Batman characters, but Supergirl like blatantly put out, my cousin has worked with vigilantes before, one from Gotham. So that basically said Batman the last episode. I don't know, because the one thing I will say DC has over Marvel is all these shows and movies and all that can all intertwine because it's the Infinite Earth storylines.
Okay.
So, for example, they introduced a character from Earth 23 in Flash, which is technically the Earth that Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill's Batman and Superman take place in. So, you know what I mean? That's a wink they did in the show for anybody that's keeping up with all these Earths and stuff.
That's pretty cool. So who's someone you want to see join this whole universe for CW?
I would really, really enjoy seeing Cyborg and the rest of the Teen Titans. I'd love to see the Teen Titans get work. Because they've already had a couple of them. They've had Arsenal, they did Artemis, Kid Flash.
When they did Arsenal in Arrow, I thought that was a wink to, hey, we might do Teen Titans or Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't mind that. One character personally I want to see is like Blue Beetle. I think he'd be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, not as cheesy as he was in Smallville.
Yeah.
That was awful.
That was really bad.
Well, I mean, they hinted to the original Blue Beetle, Coid, and the prizes. They hinted to him a couple times. They haven't gone out. I don't know how they would do it because even the Atom, Ray Palmer, they kind of changed his origin of it, made him DC's Iron Man. And even the comics are kind of following suit on that now too, because how popular his character was received in the show.
But see, that really upsets me because I really like the way Adam was in the comics.
I mean, I didn't think I was gonna like what's his name, Brandon Routh as him, but I actually really like him. I think he's perfect for it.
Okay.
And I'm glad he's finally accepted that. You know what? Superman Returns was a flop, so this is what you're gonna do the rest of your career is do comics books probably. So I think he's pretty good.
Do you think that they're gonna lead to him still being the blue flame of matter eventually, or you think he's just always going to be in that suit?
I think it's always going to be the suit. To be honest, I didn't even think they were going to give him the shrinking ability and the growing ability at all.
I did see that they added that.
They threw that in Legends Tomorrow, and I was like really surprised. But yeah, I didn't think they would do that at all. But I like his character. You know what I mean? I like his story arc, and I love the fact that they played off that, you know what, he is a ridiculously good-looking billionaire, so, like, of course, women throw themselves at him all the time. So I think it's an interesting story arc.
Did they do any, I know it's holidays, did they do any Christmas episodes?
Yes, Flash had its Christmas episode to the Arrow, but Flash's was amazing.
Really?
I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it was super good.
Okay, so check out that Christmas
episode. Yeah, he teams up with Flash from Earth 3. And to fight the big villain of the series. And, of course, Christmas gets involved, too. But that was, yeah.
That's awesome.
Delicious. That show is amazing.
I wanted to bring in Christmas because I know you're big on Christmas. You love Christmas.
I love Christmas movies in the Christmas spirits. Do I like spending money? No.
I don't think anyone does. But every time I'm here, you have a rule that during December you and your family just watch Christmas movies.
Correct.
Exclusively.
Yes, that's my wife's rule. We only allow Christmas movies during December. But I like to fit in those unconventional Christmas movies that just fly on the radar as Christmas. Batman Returns, considered a Christmas film.
Yeah.
So I get to watch that. Die Hard. That's a Christmas movie.
That's happened during Christmas.
Yes. Die Hard 1 and 2. So
I actually never even put that together for Die Hard.
Favorite Christmas movie?
Mine's probably going to have to be The Christmas Story. That's probably the only Christmas movie I watch every year. I just find it so funny. All he wants is that BB gun, and they're just like, you're going to shoot your eye out, kid.
My question to you, and I've always wondered this, is he remembering things as it actually happened, or is he exaggerating it because he's a kid? Like, did Santa really step on his face and kick him down the slide? Like, did that really happen?
I don't know. That's actually a really good question, because you could use a lot of the things that he goes through in the movie. You can kind of see how, as a kid, you would imagine that that's what happens, because when you go to Santa, he has so many kids in line that he has to see. So, of course, he's trying to just, get your wish, get your picture, and go.
It's like the Home Alone movies. Did all those stuff really happen? Because technically it's all told from, Kevin McCulloch's point of view. So, did he really hold off them robbers?
Yeah, that's also a good
Because at the end of the day, there's so many mistakes in that movie, if that's what really happened. Like, the worst cops in history of anything.
Well, also, he just looks like such a badass sliding in between people's legs so flawlessly.
No issues. Although I like the Home Alone movies, I realize, they're just, wow. One, they're terrible parents. You know what I mean? Like, terrible cops in that town. And why didn't he call the cops? I ask myself that every time I watch it. Just call the cops. You know what time the robbers are coming. You know what they look like. Why not?
Which one do you like better, Home Alone 1 or 2?
Oh, 1.
Because I don't ever like to think 3 happened.
Or 4. There's technically 4.
What? Okay, I only knew of 3.
Yeah. Of course, 1, the original, always really good. As a kid, I definitely preferred 2 because, that was all sequels in the 90s. Take the idea of the first movie and make it bigger.
That's true. Yeah, I really like 2. I haven't watched them in a long time, but my memory serves me that 2 was the better one. I remember as a kid, I really wanted that Walkman he had because you could record his voice.
Oh, the 90s.
It looked so cool.
Throwing toy advertisement.
Yeah. But man, looking at that thing now, because a friend of mine still has it, it looks so dumb.
Yeah. It was dumb at the time as well. If I had to pick a favorite Christmas movie, I'm going with Elf with Will Ferrell. Love it.
First time I ever saw Elf, I hated it. Because Will Ferrell's one of those actors that the first time I ever see any of his movies, I hate them. Because I don't find him funny for some reason the first time.
You giant with curly hair, no humor. I'm not doing it.
But then the second time, every time I see his movies the second time, I love them. Like, The Other Guys is my favorite comedy of all time, probably. And I don't like him, but he's in it, and he's part of the reason I like it so much. Elf, Talladega Nights, everything with him in it. I'm like, first time I see it, I'm like, that was dumb. This isn't funny. And then
I like Elf because I can watch it with the kids. You know what I mean? It's got nothing super inappropriate, but yet me and my wife seem to be cracking up every time we watch it. When he freaks out about Santa Claus coming, I've seen it 1,000 times, and we always quote it, but it still makes us laugh every time. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, that's another good one. Scrooge with Bill Murray, love that movie. Yes.
Oh man, why can't I think of the name of it?
Is it a Christmas movie?
It is a Christmas movie.
Is there Christmas lights in it?
With the three, it's not the Scrooge one. It's an old like black and white movie. I can't remember the name of it. Guy's got to jump off a bridge.
Oh, Wonderful Life.
There we go, Wonderful Life. That's a good one too, though.
Yes. No.
No,
it's such an overrated movie.
Yeah, you think so?
It's all right. It's decent. We actually talked about that movie before. Remember the running joke in Batman comic books?
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne has never been able to sit down and watch it. Yeah.
That was one I really enjoyed though, and I'm not much for like the holidays. Like I don't really like Christmas. I know it's a time for family to all come together, but.
By the way, people, he's actually green, and has a dog with one antler. Just to let you know, just in case you're wondering why he hates the holidays.
Yeah, I like to steal people's gifts from under the tree.
Correct.
And throw them up.
Your heart is a size too small. That's what it is.
We also, there's also a lot of things during this time of the year that we see in every media, games as well. Yeah. There are some really cool things that video games do for Christmas.
Yeah.
You had
Arkham City. Oh, there it is, the calendar, man.
Yeah, we almost did it together.
Yes.
Which is my favorite Batman to this day out of the Arkham series.
Arkham City?
Arkham City.
I can see that. It was really good. I'm surprised Arkham Origins doesn't get as much credit as it should. Because I really like that game. I love the story, and I love the setting because it took place at Christmas.
I really don't think it's as bad as people make it seem.
I think it was better than Arkham Knight.
I think it's a really good game. I think the problem a lot of people had with it was, one, it wasn't by Rockstar, but you wouldn't have known unless but once you were told that, you were like, oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
My biggest problem were the shocker gloves. They made the game a little too easy once you got them from the Executioner. You pretty much one-shotted anyone once they got the full charge.
Yep.
But, yeah, then you have Kingdom Hearts, Nightmare Before Christmas. That's actually my favorite Kingdom Hearts level, because you get the cool Halloween costumes for everyone. You can see Donald as I don't know why he's dressed as a mummy, because his whole middle section's missing.
Yeah.
So he's like a ghost mummy, I guess.
That is true. What was Goofy? I can't remember.
Goofy was kind of like Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's it. And then you had like the vampire look, didn't you?
Sora looks like a vampire with he has a little pumpkin mask over one eye.
That's right. Ape Escape 2, the ice level, planet level, all Mario ice levels are amazing.
Yeah.
Super Mario 64, the penguin race, still one of the greatest levels ever made.
Where we all threw a baby penguin over the edge.
Yes.
Because no matter how bad of a person you sound doing it, you did it.
You tried it out. You know what I'm going to take it back to? Sonic 3, the ice level where you started off on the snowboard. That was a great snow Christmas level.
I was never a fan of Sonic.
That's impossible.
You never liked
No,
Sonic.
he's the blue hedgehog.
I know.
He's the fastest thing alive.
I know. The only Sonic game I really enjoyed was on the GameCube, Sonic Adventures 2. I really enjoyed that one.
But let me tell you a fact. Sonic the Hedgehog is based off of Bill Clinton and Michael Jackson. What is there not to like? Those are the two people they based Sonic off of.
No way.
Absolutely, that's a fact. Look it up. Yes. Bill Clinton and Michael Jackson is the inspiration for Sonic the Hedgehog.
I feel like I'm supposed to love Sonic now.
Why wouldn't you?
But the love's not there. I'm
It's
sorry.
the fastest thing alive.
What about Flash?
All right, you got him. He's the fastest animal alive.
All right, we can go with that.
Flash or Quicksilver?
Oh my god, I've seen this duel all the time. So I say Flash.
It's got to be Flash.
Yeah.
He's got the Speed Force.
And he also has better regenerative abilities. Whereas Quicksilver, from my understanding, doesn't. And let's be honest, Quicksilver got shot.
Yes.
And died.
Yeah. How does Flash catch bullets in his hand? Quicksilver catches them in his chest. That's right.
Just a couple of DC fanboys.
It's true. Still excited for Guardians. But for Christmas games, there's plenty of examples for snow levels, stuff like that. Not so much Christmas games, but
Why do you think that is?
I feel like to me personally, I'd only want to play it one time a year. That's not fun for a game.
That's true too, but a lot of games like you know what? Maybe it only works on games that are level based. Like Kingdom Hearts can do it because you're only visiting that world once.
Yeah.
Maybe twice if it has a secret boss that you have to go later in the game to get to. But really, like Mario, any game where you're just going from one level to the next, it really seems to work, but nothing where it's just consistent. I mean, the Batman Arkham series works, but
yeah.
I don't think a lot of people tie that to Christmas.
No, it's I mean it was just a beat 'em up game, but I enjoyed the Christmas time because they used that in their story to explain why the streets were deserted. It was Christmas Eve. You know what I mean?
You know what upsets me about Christmas? All the good games come out during the holiday.
Yes.
And I get paid more money during the holiday because there's more hours to be earned to work, and somehow I end up spending all my money on other people.
Fair enough. What drives me crazy about Christmas, I don't know if this happens to anybody else. You ask for one thing, maybe in my particular, one video game you want. I get it, but then I got to run around to all my family, friends, and all that. So it's like I didn't even get time to play my game, and then I got to go right back to work right afterwards. So
my least favorite thing is, and I won't say who does this to me. Every year, they ask me what I want. I'm like, just buy me a PlayStation Network card, or Visa gift card, something like that. Every year they give me a Red Robin gift card, and I hate Red Robin. Cannot stand Red Robin.
How come you haven't told this?
I've told them. Every year I tell them. A part of me thinks they do it now because I hear a lot of people like to see my reaction when I get upset. So I think they're doing it on purpose. But it's really upsetting when I get them what they asked for, and then I'm sitting here with Red Robin that I hate.
Yeah, nobody likes Red Robin.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not saying yum to that at all.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But a lot of big games. One that we saw a new trailer for was Death Stranding,
which we were supposed to talk about last week.
Yeah, we were supposed to, and we completely just messed that up. So sorry to everyone who was really looking forward to hearing it then. But we'll do it now.
Because it's amazing. You're both fans. All right, so my question to you, is it in-game? I've heard two different things, that it's in-game, and then I've also heard the trailer was pre-rendered.
So the first trailer definitely could not have been in-game because they still didn't even pick the engine that they were going to run the game.
Correct, that was with Naked Daryl.
Yes.
And the Naked Baby.
With Naked Daryl, Naked Baby, which I have a theory about that I think the baby he holds is himself.
Okay, nakedness.
But,
what is Hideo Kojima's obsession with naked people in his games?
Yeah, he had Raiden who ran around naked, just covering his junk doing
or as
cartwheels.
normal people pronounce it, Raiden, but right.
Whatever.
Snake always loses his shirt somehow in those games.
Yeah. I never really made that connection until you just pointed it out.
Alright, back to the amazing trailer though.
The first trailer I thought was really good, but left me with obviously a lot of questions given Kojima. That's what you're always left with. Even after the second trailer,
right?
You're left with even more questions, if not.
Baby in a jar.
Now the baby in the
squid tanks.
So my theory behind the trailer is that I think we're in a world where people are no longer born, and the population of man has dropped dramatically. Which is why when you see Mads, who I believe is going to be a villain, towards the end of the second trailer, he has a bunch of skeleton soldiers tied to him. I'm starting to think that what they did was they had to animate dead bodies in order for them to have an army to fight wars for them. And I think what they do now is grow babies, which the guy who looks like Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
I don't know if that's supposed to be him.
Well, it definitely was him. I don't think he's going to be in the game. I think that was kind of a wink to the fans.
Gotcha.
Since he's working on it.
But him holding the baby, I think that was also. I think that baby is supposed to be
Daryl.
Norman Reedus. There we go.
Why call him his name? He's Daryl, right?
But that's my theory with that. And then in the second trailer, you also see the baby doll who has like this stitching on its stomach, and that's what Daryl has too, which I think is another sign of babies aren't born. They have like these tubes that go in them, and they surgically remove them when the baby gets to a point that it doesn't need to feed that way anymore.
Right. I mean, do you think it's just going to be a Metal Gear game with new characters? Let's be honest. He's made nothing but incredible games.
Yeah.
I mean, he's reinvented the Metal Gear franchise, but he's kind of got that Metal Gear lore. He brings you into 4 different directions to give you one answer, and then leaves you with another 45 questions.
Do I think this game is going to leave me with a lot of questions even at the end of it? Yes. Do I think we're probably going to get more than one? Yes. Do I think it's going to play like a Metal Gear game? Yes, because I don't know if Kojima knows how to make something else. Not to say that he's incapable of it, but when Metal Gear Rising was coming out, he gave it to Platinum because he claimed that he didn't really know how to do an action hack and slash type game.
Right.
Whereas he was so used to doing stealth. So I do think this is going to be another third-person stealth, possibly open-world zone game like Metal Gear 5 was.
I can see that. Do you think it's going to be as ambitious as Metal Gear 5 was? Because to be honest, people have hours into that game and literally done nothing.
It's hard to say. The world it doesn't look like there can be too much to do in the world because it's all destroyed. So I don't know.
Squids.
Yeah, I don't know what you're
Jar babies.
I don't know where we're gonna go with it. Kojima's a weird guy though. He could easily something that I'm thinking of where it's going to be just dead enemies that you run into all the time. He could easily flip the switch and I could have a million side quests. And I could be having wormholes and stuff that lead to other dimensions.
Yeah. It's tough with him because this thing came out and it's been for a couple of years. Like, developers feel like weird is the new good, and it doesn't work. There's a lot of games that came out that were really weird and just didn't work as games. But he keeps making these weird games, and they're so amazing, and we keep buying them because they're amazing. So I don't think he knows how to make a bad game. I think he wants perfection. I think he takes his time with the game, and story obviously always takes top priority to him, but he wants a good gameplay to match that amazing story he always has.
I definitely agree with that, especially the story aspect, because Kojima's always wanted to do film.
Right.
He said that he always wanted to do film. I think he always wanted to leave the gaming industry, but I think now he's just kind of like, this is my way of making my own films, and they're interactive. So I think that's why he kind of just wants to stick with it, because he obviously had his chance to go into the film industry when he left Konami.
Right. Or was fired, depending on what story you hear.
That's true too. But I really think that because he has that film idea behind all of his games, and they're all they're just like movies. Yeah. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 has an hour-and-a-half cutscene.
Yeah.
So I think that's why a lot of the times when you watch it play his games, even if the gameplay could be a little lacking in some sections, you're just like, the story is just always nailing it.
Yeah, it is, and you kind of forgive some of the shortcomings in that franchise because how amazing it is. And I've always said about Metal Gear Solid was when you finished 4, you felt like you finished a journey. You know what I mean? And
I agree.
He ended that really well, and that was a lot to live up to.
That was a tearjerker.
Yeah, and he lived up to the hype. You know what I mean? And just a good game developer. So am I excited about this? Yes. Am I disappointed that I won't see him make another Metal Gear? Absolutely.
I agree with both.
I think the problem I'm going to have is I'm going to be playing this game and wish it was Metal Gear Solid. You know what I mean? Especially being so disappointed with 5's ending, I'm going to be like, this is what we could have had.
Yeah, he said that we probably won't have to wait as long as we think we're going to have to. I personally don't see the game coming out until maybe 2019. But if he's saying we don't have to wait as long, maybe 2018, maybe.
Yeah.
I think maybe this E3 coming up, we might see it again. If it's there with gameplay, I'm going to say 2018. And I would probably say around maybe March, since it's a new IP. And that new January to March area seems to be working for a lot of the newer games.
Yeah. I think it's going to sell. His name alone sells. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
That playable teaser for the Silent Hill was the most downloaded thing on PlayStation of all time. A playable teaser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that says something.
Well, he's also probably one of the few developers that you name him by name, not by a company. Neil Druckmann's up there from Naughty Dog, but that's honestly because of his work with The Last of Us and how amazing that game was. But there's only a handful I can think of that you think of just the individual.
I'll put it this way. When I went to New York when 4 was getting released, because he was doing an autograph signing there, it was packed beyond belief. And everybody, they always say nerds look a certain way, but everybody was out there. I mean, big jock looking guys, nerdy people, beautiful girls, ugly girls, fat guys, skinny guys. Everybody was out there excited for this game. You know what I mean? And we wrapped around, Times Square like 30 times just to shake hands with this guy for making a video game. That's something big.
I think we just figured out world peace.
Yes.
Kojima.
Here it is.
He brought everyone together.
And it was so funny. You could tell he didn't speak a lick of English, but he was so friendly. And when I came up to him, I said, thank you for making my favorite game franchise. And he looks at me, smiles, says, "You're welcome," shakes my hand. And I felt so special that day. I was like, this is it, man. This hand that just shook this master's hand is going to finish this game. And I did. And it was amazing. So am I excited about this game? Absolutely. Still upset that he left Konami. I'm still not going to get over it.
What do you think about Konami now? Do you think they're going to be able to strive without Kojima? Do you think Kojima was literally what was holding them up?
You ever see the end of Mission Impossible 1 when the helicopter crashes into the train? Yeah, that's what I think about Konami now.
Yeah.
I think they got too big for their bridges and didn't realize this is what's making you money, is this gentleman. From what I've read, he got let go because of budgeting issues with Metal Gear Solid 5. Give that man whatever he wanted. If he wanted a golden boat or yacht, give it to him.
I heard when the new president took over Konami after the previous one left, he really wanted them to go in the mobile direction, and Kojima didn't really want to. And from that point on, they were always on bad terms. I don't think Konami really has much left. What have they really even came out with besides Metal Gear that's been great? The Castlevania series, the first Lords of Shadow, was really good.
Yeah.
And then you ruin it with the second one, which, good game, but not...
I mean, what else can you say about Konami? They really have nothing else. Konami has nothing else. And it's... the first thing, you do something like Let Him Go, and the first thing you show is a trailer for a zombie game with a Metal Gear name attached to it that no one asked for, nobody wants. Like,
do you think it's too soon
Absolutely.
for another Metal Gear game?
Absolutely. I feel like universally everybody agreed Metal Gear Solid 5 was the best Metal Gear Solid when it came to gameplay. Universally everybody agreed the ending was just awful for that game. I told you my theory. I think he hadn't finished the game when they let him go, and that's not what he intended it to end with. But that's neither here or there. But for us to still have that bad taste in our mouth, and then you to be like, you know what sells? Metal Gear and zombies. Let's put them together. No, I'm not. I'm not feeding into that. I don't care. This game could get a 10 out of 10. I'm not supporting this.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to be supporting Konami either. I'm a big Kojima fan, and I feel the way that they treated him was really kind of messed up. So I'm definitely going to... I think I'm probably going to be boycotting Konami.
It's just, sometimes I look at these video game companies and wonder the decisions they make. We were talking about it on the last podcast. Capcom, like Street Fighter V was just slapping all our faces. And then you own a property like Mega Man and you haven't done anything with it?
Yeah, but first off, I do want to say that like both Konami and Capcom, for my childhood, gave me some of my best memories. And I feel like both of them have kind of fallen off the tracks. Capcom looks like they're trying to get back on the right foot, especially with, you have Resident Evil 7 coming out. That looks great. You have, they said that they're, the new Marvel vs. Capcom. They said they're going to start supporting some of their older titles. They just got the Onimusha license. So I think Capcom's on the way to come back into like the gamer's eyes as, oh, you know what? I can like you again. Whereas I think Konami, they just don't seem to get it. They don't seem to get what we want. Just give us another side-scrolling Castlevania.
Yeah.
With some good graphics. You know what I mean? That would be great.
Happy. Give us another Mega Man.
And I think...
give us Mega Man Legends 3, please.
The Mega Man games, though, have never really sold great, and I can understand Capcom's decision to not want to support it, but at the same time, it's like Capcom's always brought Mega Man to the forward for their fans. And it's like, well, here's what you got to do. You either got to let Mega Man go and die so that we can forget about him, or you do need to support this character because there's clearly people who want him. But that also means that the people who want him need to step up and pay for it. You know, I feel like a lot of people wait too long for sales, and that's fine. I get it. If you're while it's stressing, who am I to say, like, hey, go buy a brand new game? But at the same time, these companies are looking at sales numbers, and if we're not going to put the money out to prove that we want these games, they don't really have a reason to make them.
I still say this, it's weird, some decisions they make. Did you hear about Capcom? They pulled Marvel versus Capcom from 3 from all the PSN and all that. Like, you can't buy it now since they announced 4. Like, why? Why did you do that? That'd be the time you think everybody's running by 3 again.
Well, wait, off of the PS4? Because I own it on PlayStation 4. Or do you mean off the PS3 and...
No, I'm talking about the PSN. Like, you can't buy it online anymore. You can't download it, anything like that. It's out of the... Download. You can't... If you already own it, of course you own it. But you can't buy it
because when they announced Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, they put 3 on the PS4 store, and I bought it, but I didn't think they took it down.
Yeah, weird.
That is weird. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think Konami has. Do they have a chance to still win our hearts back?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I say it's over for them. I think honestly, it was like MGM. The James Bond is the only thing kept them afloat, and the only thing you had was Metal Gear. And the first time you release a bad Metal Gear game, the first time that company taints the name of Metal Gear, the fans will turn on you.
That's true. I guess you're probably right about that. Once people see that, unless this Metal Gear game, like we've said, is a 10 out of 10, which I still won't buy it, but at least then it has a chance for people to be like, you know what, maybe Konami can do something to win us back. Because who knows, maybe the Metal Gear series does need something other than Kojima. I'm not saying it does. I love Kojima. But maybe it could use a fresher take on it, because I don't even know if Kojima knew where it was going to end.
I can see that. I do feel like he was pressured into do 5 because 4 ended it so well.
I agree. Well, he said he wanted to stop so many times. I think he originally wanted to stop after 2.
Yeah.
And then they made him. Then he did 3, and I think after 3, did he want to stop again, or did he say he was going to do 4?
He wanted to do 4.
Okay.
I know one of the big things he was complaining about was he likes to do 1 per console gen, so he did not want to do 2 and 3 both on the PlayStation 2. He wanted to wait and was very upset that he was forced to release 2 games back to back on PlayStation 2. There's still good years between those games.
Like 5 or 6,
yeah.
I think. Yeah, which 3, in my opinion, is the best Metal Gear, personally. And then 4.
Yeah, definitely up there.
4 would be number 2 for me.
Definitely up there. Metal Gear Solid. Gets you emotional.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Another
thing that gets me emotional, thinking about the Vita.
Oh, the wonderful Vita.
You just got one.
I did.
You're new to Vita Island.
And I love it. I love this system, but after a couple of weeks of owning it, I can see why it failed. It didn't do well.
Really? So I have my own theory behind why it didn't do well, but let's hear why you think that.
Okay, first game I played on it was Uncharted, which I mentioned last week. Really good, and they took advantage of the neat things that the system could do with the back camera, and I had to wipe down the artifacts with the touchscreen and everything like that, which was really amazing. Then I played Killzone on it, and I lost my mind of how amazing this game was. And same thing, it used all the back cameras and all the neat things you do with the touchscreen. Same thing with Assassin's Creed Liberation. But once I finished those 3 games, I realized all you really have on it now is ports from other systems. And it just, in one, I played them already. Number 2, it's like, well, you can't use all those cool functions, so what's the point of having this system? If I can do the same thing on the DS or the PS3, what am I doing with this thing?
I can see that. I definitely do think that Sony cut support too early for it. And I think that they should have pulled a little more resources into it. That being said, I also think the price point when it first came out was a bit much. It was like $300 and $350 for the 2 models. And then you had these ludicrous prices for the memory cards.
Yeah.
I mean, for 32 gig, you're looking at, I believe it was like $80 or 100, and then they just kept, and they would just go down, yeah, but they would still be ridiculous prices for what you would get.
Yeah.
And then with PlayStation giving you free games every month because of PlayStation Plus, memory card would fill up super fast with these digital downloads.
You know, my biggest problem too is there was no advertisement for it. Like, I don't remember anything for it. Like, what sold me to get it was you brought it over that one day and you were like, oh, these are all these PlayStation 1 games I have on it, all this stuff. And I'm like, you can do that with a Vita? Well, I need to get one now.
Yeah.
But had I known that, I might have been excited when it came out at the time. But to me, I didn't know the difference between a PSP and a Vita. You know what I mean?
I got you.
It seemed like the same system to me. One was a little thicker.
The funny thing is, anyone who's played a Vita, I feel, loves it. I don't think anyone that owns one is like, oh, I have a brick that's just going to sit here. But I think because of Sony's way of marketing it, isolating people from not wanting to buy it because of the memory cards, and not supporting it with constantly coming out with these AAA experiences like Killzone and Uncharted, I think it made people who don't already own one go, why do I want this?
Yeah. And push your first parties because that, like, why there wasn't an exclusive God of War for it, I don't understand.
I thought when Infamous Second Son was announced, I thought they were going to release an Infamous game on the Vita. Not to go with, not a Second Son, but Cole. I thought they were going to do like, hey, what is Cole doing during Second Son, and put it on the Vita. I thought that would have been really cool.
Yes, did we not play the Infamous games?
No, I did. But Cole's not dead.
Yeah, he died at the end too, man.
Well, the evil ending is canon for 2.
No, it's the good ending.
No, good is canon for 1. Go Googles go.
Go Googles go.
keep...
Anyway, while we're on the subject of Second Son and the exclusive for the Vita, yeah, I played Killzone and was just so in love with it. I don't understand like why they wouldn't support stuff like that. If these developers can make such an amazing game, why they wouldn't do? Why they wouldn't support? Like, I would love to see a God of War.
Infamous 2 evil ending is canon.
No.
Oh, never mind. You're right. Until player data changed it. Oh, yes. Man.
See, what had happened was that's what they announced. Fans got really upset, and they decided to switch it over.
Oh, dang.
That's why in the game he mentioned that only a few survived.
Yeah, you're right. Correct. I forgot.
But that's okay that you were wrong, because I was right.
Whatever. It happens.
Good for you. So yeah, you know what? I can see what you're saying. An infamous game with Cole, like they did. What was the download that took place during Mardi Gras, where you turned into a vampire?
Oh,
Festival of Blood.
Yeah,
they did something like that. You know what I mean? Because Infamous 2 took place in a 1.5 year period, so there was much of that game you could have thrown in there.
Yeah,
for story mode. Plus, Infamous was just a fun game.
You also could have probably just done like an alternate storyline type of thing with Infamous.
Yeah.
Or even you could have done another side-by-side game, but you know how they did the First Light?
Yeah.
You could have done First Light for the Vita.
Right.
And Second Son for the console, because I think people really liked Fetch, and I think that would have been a cool way for people to play Fetch, and for the Vita to get its support of a AAA title.
Yeah, they should have put much. And there's a few other games on, like I think there was a Resistance game on there that wasn't terrible review-wise. I'll pick that up eventually. But besides that, that's the only really first-party games you got on it.
Yeah.
Sony's known for their exclusives. That's what they have. You know what I mean?
100%. That's, in my opinion, whenever people ask me why I like PlayStation over Xbox, I say that I'm like, it's their exclusives. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Halo, I like Gears, but their stories don't move me as much as like Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War, Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank, yeah.
And it amazes me that like you refuse to put a Ratchet and Clank on the Vita, a Sly Cooper on the Vita. You know,
the only Sly Cooper you got was the collection and the port
and the Thieves in Time.
Yeah, the port of the PS3 game.
Yeah, which once again it's a port, but I think if it would have gotten its own standalone game, it would have been fun.
It surprised me that they had way more support for the PSP, which definitely didn't hold the power that this Vita does, because the PSP had exclusive Jak and Daxter games. There was literally 2 different Jak and Daxter games for the PSP.
Yeah, Secret Agent Clank.
Yep, and 2 Ratchet and Clanks for the PSP.
to God of Wars.
Yeah,
Chains of Olympus.
And Ghost of Sparta. Like
but
PSP had big backing over it.
But the big difference was the PSP was sold very well. PSP I think sold 80 million units. That's a lot. And I think a lot of that had to do with Japan at the time because, Japan is really into mobile gaming. And I think once the cell phone came out, it kind of really hurt the Vita for that market. So I think it was relying a lot on Europe and America to kind of, pick up those spots. But Nintendo also really puts a hole in that,
Yeah.
3DS is always, Nintendo's handhelds have always done well, not even just the 3DS. So I think trying to combat the king really hurts Sony too. But I think if anyone could have done it, it could have been Sony. I think the problem was they just didn't back it enough.
No, definitely not. And I had a PSP when it came out, and I really liked my PSP too. And like I said, that's why I didn't get a Vita, because I was like, oh, I have a PSP. What's the point of getting a Vita? And then seeing they're completely different systems, but I definitely wish they had that backing that the PSP had, because there's a lot of, like, Daxter on the PSP was a great game.
I agree. And it sucks because we have companies like Square who really support the Vita. A lot of their games are still coming out for Vita. You had World of Final Fantasy just came out for Vita. Dragon Quest Builders just came out for Vita. You had Final Fantasy X, X-2 came out for Vita. So it sucks that you have companies that are supporting it, but I feel like enough people still aren't buying the games for, to really make the Vita something. Do you think Sony's going to do another handheld, or do you think the Vita's where they stop?
I think they're done after this. And to be honest, I'm not really disappointed that they're done, because at the end of the day, at least I know when I got this Vita, this is what I'm going to get with games. You know what I mean? I'm not breaking the bank trying to keep up with millions of different games coming out.
That's true.
Am I disappointed they're done with handhelds yet? Because I think that competitiveness is what makes great games sometimes.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know what I mean? And the fact that, to me, the peak of games will still always be Super Nintendo versus the Sega Genesis. You know what I mean? Going to school arguing, who had the superior system.
Yeah.
And I feel like without that competition, it kind of loses its fun.
Yeah, that's the problem I think Nintendo runs into sometimes with their console. I think their handheld market, because they know they own it. I feel like a lot of their handheld games lately have kind of been slacking, personally. I feel like the Kirby games have never really been very well received. A lot of that is because they're obviously for kids.
Yeah.
But a lot of Nintendo games serve kids and adults, and I don't think Kirby does that. And I think the Mario Party Island was a half-baked Mario Party that they put on the 3DS. I just feel like they're putting a lot of things on the 3DS just because they're just like, well, let's just give them something to play.
I agree, and I feel like a lot of the 3DS games now are just ports of Wii U games. Hey, you liked it on the Wii U? There you go. Let's play it on the go now.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy because my son constantly wants these ports for his 3DS. I'm like, we have it on the Wii U. Why am I buying this game twice?
Yeah, but you want to know what's going to be funny about that? When the Switch comes out, you're going to buy some of those games again.
Correct. Nintendo always make me spend money.
Yeah. So to go from a sad topic to an exciting one, let's talk about what we're excited about for 2017. We can go games, movies. Let's just go all out with it. Even comics. If you know some upcoming comic lines that are going to start happening in 2017, let's just dive right in.
All right. First thing I'm excited about is 2016 being over. Yes, thank you. Thanks, because it wasn't a terrible year until I was betrayed last night. And a good friend of mine just went and seen Star Wars without me. Rogue One. So, that's fine. We're not going to say any names. Just know it's awkwardly quiet in this room now. So,
I can't believe we're bringing this up.
Oh, yeah, we're bringing that up. But no, what I'm really excited about 2017, Justice League is my top one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. Justice League is super exciting. And it's going to be a two-parter. I don't know how I feel. Is it still two-part, or is that
correct? It's just the second part got pushed back over for the Batman movie.
How do you feel about them putting something in between?
What I'm thinking now is Zack Snyder's still the director for both of them. What I'm thinking is he was going to do kind of continuation, and now it's going to be its own kind of separate story.
Okay.
So definitely don't think we're getting Darkseid in the first movie, which I'm okay with.
I am too.
Because no offense for little ears, but don't blow your load on the first movie.
I completely agree. I think Darkseid's too big of a villain to use.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact is, when they did the New 52 and the first villain the Justice League went against was Darkseid, every other villain felt disappointing after that because you just did your big baddie.
You know what I want to see on the big screen one at some point with Justice League? Did you watch Young Justice?
Absolutely.
You remember the season 2 finale? Randall Savage.
Yes.
I want that.
What I'm looking forward to is with this multi-universe talk, with the CWs existing in another universe as this. Eventually, they've reached such a big baddie that they do the infinite, crisis on multiverse. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd like to see, both Flashes together.
Now, do you think they're also going to do movies for like Owlman? Since they said that there's clearly going to be multiverses. Now, do you think they're going to go that route where we end up getting? Because the DC universe has some obscure characters.
Absolutely.
So, do you think we're going to get things like when Bruce became Owlman instead?
Do I think they're going in that direction now? But I think the options are out there to do stuff that Marvel's not doing. Let's be honest, we don't want to see them rehash what Marvel's doing. So I would love to see a universe where the Tim Burton Batmans exist in another universe. You know what I mean? Where you see Christian Bale and Ben Affleck teaming up because they're two different Batmans from two different universes. That would be something super neat. And that's something I feel like DC has the ability to do. One, they're owning all those rights in that one studio, and two, the fact they already established this is a multi-universe.
I definitely think DC really needs to dive in and just take some risks.
Yes, absolutely.
But one of my excitements for 2017 is this is just going to be for a game. Is one of the first things that just came to my head was Horizon Zero Dawn coming out for the PS4. That's on February. Not excited for it?
I don't even know what that is, sir.
Really, it's Guerrilla Games' new RPG. The guys who made Killzone, they're making an RPG. The writer is from Fallout New Vegas.
Ooh.
It's actually looking really good. It's so it takes place in a futuristic world where man has fallen to machine, and we've relived the caveman period, basically.
Terminator.
So we're basically living like savages, and then you have a bunch of these robots around. And it's been such a long time period that the humans that are around don't even know that we used to live in like skyscrapers and houses.
Okay, this does seem really neat, actually.
I'm actually surprised that you haven't heard of it.
I might have come across a trailer or two, but, I try not to look at too many crazy things going out. You know what something I'm excited about 2017 is the rumored campaign mode coming for Overwatch. If that happens, I'll be super excited.
Okay.
Like I said, I have no issues with that game. I have no issues with people hating on it. Or not hating on it, loving it, because it is a beautiful game, and I've heard it is amazing. I want to play it, but I want a campaign to play it with. Do I want to rush out and buy it now when I hear that next year we're potentially getting a campaign? No, I'll wait.
Okay. I don't know if the campaign is going to be happening, but like we said, it's rumor, and we'll see what they do. Blizzard obviously is really good at making their very good like single player content for their fans, so it wouldn't surprise me if enough people ask for it if that's what they're going to do. What else are you excited for 2017?
The continuations of anybody's interested. They're doing a Power Ranger Run issue of comic books. I just picked up the first issue.
How'd you like it?
It was actually pretty good. Really dark. Surprising. The first issue is the story of the Green Ranger after he turns good, and you can see him still being tortured by Rita in his head, saying that he can't be trusted, he's still evil and all that. And I thought it was an interesting concept.
That's pretty
Taking
cool.
that idea that he was technically.
How do you feel about the Power Ranger movie coming out?
I am excited and worried at the same time. We discussed it when the trailer came out. The way the trailer made it look, I'm very worried that we're going to get like the old school 90s comic book movie problems where the majority of the film, they're normal, and for the last 10 minutes is when they become the superhero. Super worried about that.
Yeah, I had the same fear as well. The Green Ranger was always my favorite, so I don't think we're going to get him in this movie.
Well, spoiler for anybody that's worried. There's a couple stills that came out of Rita, who's been in green armor, and if you look at her staff, it looks like she has a green coin in there. which I think is a really neat concept because in the original show they never explained why she had the green coin. So why not do a story of maybe she had the green coin to begin with? Maybe that.
Maybe she was the original Green Ranger. That's fallen.
Yes. If you ever seen the online fan-made movie about Zordon of Eltar?
No, I haven't.
It was the story of Zordon, how he crashed on Earth, and it was a fan-made movie. Really good if anybody can find it. But it explained he had the White Ranger power, and that's why he gave it to Tommy eventually. And Rita was the original Green Ranger before she turned on them. And he was sent after her to get her. So, but that's how they explained it. So I'm like, if the movie goes that direction, that'd be really neat. I think that's really neat.
That's actually pretty cool.
Best part of the trailer, in my opinion. Now, that's one of the things I am looking forward to is them all gaining powers from touching the coins. I think that was a pretty neat idea.
That did actually look pretty cool. I didn't know that there were going to be coins in this one because they kind of just look pebbles.
Well, they look like fossil rocks, but I mean, well, that's where they are, kind of fossils, but they're that round shape still.
Yeah. I'm also we're gonna get off DC and go to Marvel. Not that which Power Rangers was DC, but I didn't want to have to name just a bunch of DC movies because that's what we could do all day. I'm actually pretty excited for Logan.
Yes. So good.
I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do because it can't be anything like the comic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can't be Old Man Logan, but it could be the other story of what's her name? The female Wolverine that they just introduced.
Oh,
I can't remember her name. Weapon something.
Yeah, isn't
Weapon
it?
23?
I thought it was. I was going to say 23 as well, but I know it's 20 something.
Anyway, it could be that storyline in the comics, and that would be exciting if they do some Old Man Logan stuff in it. The question I have for you.
X-23.
Yeah, X-23. The question I have for you is: they say this takes place a year after Days of Future Past. It's been a hell of a year, apparently.
Wow, yeah, why did everyone look like they aged drastically?
Yeah, pretty bad. Like, there's all these rumors of a virus and all this stuff, and that's why Professor X looks as bad as he does.
Yeah, because Xavier looked like he got injured.
Yes. Then there's all these rumors that it's all in Xavier's head, or it's all in Logan's head, the movie. I think this is a way of them ending Wolverine's story officially. But, I mean, I'm excited about the movie, but by this point, does the timeline matter? Is it really going to bother people? I mean, they've messed with that timeline so much. It's like, does anybody take place?
Yeah, that's true. And this is Hugh Jackman's last movie, so I say as long as you do it justice and let him go with a bang.
The rated R thing I'm pretty excited about. At first I wasn't. I felt like they just did it because Deadpool. But now watching the trailer, it seems like this is the only way to properly make the story is to make it rated R. You know what I mean? This is his last story. This is a very adult story. So I'm very excited about Logan. I think it looks good. If you want to keep going on Marvel, I'm excited about Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah, I am really excited about Guardians of the Galaxy as well. And the trailer that they came out with recently.
Baby Groot.
Yeah, that blew me away.
Yeah.
Super excited for it. So, last episode we talked about some of the spoilers in that. Some people apparently weren't very happy that we said things without saying it's a spoiler.
Correct. Even though we thought they were common information, but fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess you know what? That does make sense. Not everybody likes to go online reading up on stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's also nothing wrong with wanting to go online and reading up what you can.
I agree too. It's also one of those things though where it's kind of like if I just feel like some of this stuff is common knowledge.
Correct, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
it's a tough toss-up. But we do promise from now on we'll say spoiler warning.
We'll try to do better with the spoiler alerts for you guys, so we're sorry in advance. And hopefully we'll do good from here on out. What else are you excited for? Oh, you just said Guardians. Did you see the new Spider-Man trailer?
Yeah.
For Homecoming? What'd you think?
We talked about it last week. Where were you?
We did, you're right.
Yeah.
You know what?
Talking about Spider-Man, you know what I'm excited for? That Spider-Man game coming out to PS4.
I don't think that's going to be 2017.
You don't think so?
I do not, but
I feel like Sony will try to make money and rush it out for the movie.
So, I agree with you there. I do think Sony wants it to come out alongside the movie so that they can
confuse fans.
Especially pick up on that market, because usually there are people that, like, after you see a movie, you're like, man, I want to play a game like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just saw Star Wars. You want a Star Wars game. Last year, you had Star Wars Battlefront to go with Star Wars The Force Awakens. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they did try to rush it out, but I don't think Spider-Man comes out in July, I believe, this year.
Yes.
The new Spider-Man movie. You know what? Maybe the new game could be in July, but I don't think they're going to announce it in July. If they would announce it at E3, that's in June. They would give people 1 month to know that it's coming out. I don't think they're going to do that. Maybe a September release from June.
Could be.
Maybe. We also don't know. I don't believe the game's been worked on very long. When they first showed it last year, was it? Or was it just this June that they showed it? No, last year.
Yeah.
When they first showed it last year, I was kind of like, that looks awesome, but I think I remember reading that it was in very early stages of development. Don't get me wrong, it'll be 2 years if it does come out next year, but
we'll see.
Definitely with you there though. If it does come out, I am excited.
So
loving the suit.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. 2017 should be super excited. I'm excited to move on with move in a new direction with games with the Switch coming out next year. Really excited about
How did we not name the Switch?
Well, that's something that goes without saying that we're super excited for.
That's true, but
I'm excited and worried. I want this to do well.
Nintendo needs it to do well.
Yes, I want Nintendo to stay up there. You know what I mean? Because, to be honest, if Nintendo goes and we just have Microsoft and Sony to deal with, I'll lose something of my childhood will go away.
But the strange thing is, someone pointed out to me before that there's always been a trinity in the gaming industry. There's always been 3 companies, and Nintendo's been there for a really long time. But you had Atari, then they dropped out. Sega, they're now gone. So I'm curious, if Nintendo does go down, who do you think picks up this third mantle? Because it can't just be left to Sony and Microsoft.
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything out there that would be, because there's stuff that's trying to come out to compete with these things, and they just get blown away.
The only company I think that could probably do it is maybe Apple. I think Apple would probably try.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody ever associate Apple with games, though?
They don't. But I also think when you first thought of Apple, you didn't associate them with cell phones.
True.
And, they now, so many people own an iPhone. It's kind of ridiculous. So I would have put past Apple to make us want it, because Apple does a really good job of making people want their product. I know you don't like Apple personally, but
I can see the appeal in it. It's just not something I'm interested in. But I don't know. There's a lot coming out in 2017 that I'm excited for. Movies galore. Spider-Man, Justice League, Breath of the Wild, of course. Video game wise, I haven't done enough research to see what's coming out. But I'm excited for the Switch, hands down. Just excited, and I'm excited that Nintendo said we're getting a lot of first party games with this. Because I'm tired of a drop when it first comes out.
So we know Microsoft announced the Scorpio for next year. Do you think after the Scorpio, do you think PlayStation and Microsoft try to rip off the Switch? Because when Nintendo did the Wii, you then had the Kinect and you had the PlayStation Move.
Depends. I don't think they don't want to do that because let's see if it's gimmicky. Let's see if people want it first.
That's true.
Like I said, the things that are going for the Switch is innovative. It's exciting. It's something new. It's beautiful, everything running on it looks super amazing.
It looks very adult too.
Yes.
It doesn't look like it's a die-cast toy.
Correct. What I would like to see about it is their first-party games that come out with it, because if all you have is Breath of the Wild support it, you're alienating a lot of people with it. I seen the trailer had them running, was it Skyrim on it?
It had Skyrim on it, but they said that Skyrim is not confirmed for the console.
So that's my issue. If they don't have any third-party support when it comes out, I feel like you're going to be in the same Nintendo situation you've always been in.
I think the problem right now is a lot of third parties say that they're willing to back it, which, let's be honest, a lot of third parties said that they were going to back the Wii U. And I think it's really going to depend on the sales. If it sells well, we'll be good. But Nintendo's always had this problem where Nintendo fans will buy it, but then there aren't enough Nintendo fans to keep it going.
And then my other situation I'm worried about is I have a PlayStation 4, so I really don't feel like I need an Xbox One. Because, I'm good. I got the games I want to play, and most of the third-party games come out on both. When the first system I bought for the new gen was the Wii U, I had to get another system because there was just nothing coming out on the Wii U. was playing the same 4 or 5 games over and over.
Yeah, and I think Nintendo's big problem that I hope the Switch doesn't have is they have these large droughts.
Yeah.
You'll have a Nintendo game come out and then you won't have nothing for 6 months.
Yep.
And it's like, the Switch really needs a strong lineup, but it needs a consistent lineup. We can't have, like, when it launches, 5 or 6 really good games and then nothing.
Yeah, I agree. There's always something coming out for PlayStation, and always something I can go back and try to prize that I didn't get. There was a time when the Wii U came out, and that's all I owned. I went out and bought Sonic Boom first day, just because there was nothing to play.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just...
It's slim pickings for the Wii U.
And it was... Yeah, they're the games I own for the Wii U now. They're top-notch, and I think they're incredible. But, like you said, I got maybe 10, and the Wii U's been out for a while now.
It's almost 4 years, yeah. Actually, I think this is the 4th year for it. So, but hopefully Nintendo can get this turned around. And 2017, like we said, is definitely looking exciting.
Justice League again, once again, still super excited for it. Theories on Justice League, just to end this out with. Green Lantern, is it going to be the movie?
I think you can tease him. I don't think he's in it.
They keep advertising the 7 and keep only showing 6.
But they could be Shazam. Shazam in the animated movies lately has been taking the place of Aquaman. They haven't really had Aquaman in the animated movies as much. It's been a lot of Shazam. So I'm curious, because Shazam's movie is supposed to come out before the Green Lantern and before Justice League 2, I believe. I believe Shazam is 2018, if I remember.
Yeah, and Rock's literally already been confirmed for that movie.
Yeah.
So they're casting for it already.
So I think what you do is you tease your Billy Batson and you tease Shazam. And I think that could work. Or you have them in it. I don't think we're going to see
Green Lantern.
Or maybe even Martian Manhunter. We could get him.
With him being so dominant in the CW universe, I don't know if we're getting Martian Manhunter. I would like to see some Dr. Fate would be a neat, in addition to the team.
I do feel like Fate doesn't get enough love.
No, he's one of my favorite DC superheroes. Villain for the movie. We know Steppenwolf has been confirmed. Spoiler alert, by the way. He has been confirmed
now
as the big bad for the movie.
Do you think they do a Justice League War here? Where Darkseid comes through the portal, they fight for a little bit, but then they back him up into the portal. He's not, they don't defeat him. He's not dead. And then, he's plotting for this next return. And then you think it builds up to basically what Marvel does with Thanos. Do you think we just wait a couple of Justice League movies and get to him?
I think what I would love to see instead, and this is what I'm hoping we get, is Lex Luthor didn't warn the new movie was coming. He just said somebody's coming. Somebody's coming. Flash teleported through time to warn him somebody's coming. What I would love to see is them think that thing coming is Steppenwolf, them have a ridiculous time taking him down, only to find out
there's something better.
There's something bigger and better coming. Almost a Dragon Ball Z, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they defeated Radish and he was like, oh, well, you beat me, but by the way, 2 other Saiyans are coming and they'll be here in a year. And they're more powerful. Good luck.
Yeah.
That's the way, to me, to end a franchise would get it more excited, because people that aren't huge comic book fans were, oh, who's the bigger bad guy that they're talking about? People that are will be in their seat, like, sweating for Darkseid.
I can kind of agree with that, because it'll be just like the first Avengers movie.
Yep.
First Avengers movie had Loki, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, he's the big bad, but really you find out that Thanos is the big bad, and we've had a couple movies leading to him now.
I thought for sure the direction they were going was Aquaman as the first villain for a while.
Ooh.
But now it's definitely, confirmed that Steppenwolf's going to be in there, and he was also in Batman v Superman, the extended version.
Yeah.
I just don't see him being the only villain.
I really hope if they do go that route and Darkseid's only teased in this one, they don't do what Marvel does with Thanos, where they tease him in every movie at the end. I think I'm getting tired of seeing Thanos. I think
sitting down in that chair.
If Thanos doesn't deliver, because I've seen him so much being the big bad, I'm going to be disappointed.
I'd be honest, I don't want to see Darkseid in this movie. I don't want them to hint at what he looks like.
I wouldn't mind seeing a dark figure with just the red eyes.
I don't mind seeing the dark figure, maybe something from behind. You can even show at the end, after they defeat Steppenwolf, maybe gets traveled through the portal and, I failed you, master, and you see somebody, silhouette or something huge, ended that way, but I do not want to physically see him. anticipating, because then you're going to fall in the same thing you did with Avengers, where I thought he looked better at the end of Avengers than he did in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I agree.
With the practical effects versus the CG. That wasn't the original. That's not the idea you know you're going with. Then don't show him right away. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
But Justice League, like I said, I would love to see the League of Villains in this. I want to see Lex Luthor again. I would like to see.
100% we're probably going to see Lex.
Yeah. I want to see smaller villains in it. You know what I mean? I want to see.
Now, do you think we see, because we know that Bruce Wayne goes around and gets them all, do you think we see small tidbits to smaller villains? Like, do you think when he first sees Flash, do you think Flash is going to be taking on, like, one of his small villains?
Captain Cold.
Now, we know...
Captain Boomerang.
We know for Aquaman, that's probably not going to happen, because Aquaman's going to be on shore.
Yeah.
But they could easily tease to a villain for him,
Well,
too.
now announcing... what's his face is playing his brother in the movie.
Yeah.
You can even tease to him being in this now. See, that's what I'm wondering though, because they announced him as Ocean Master for Aquaman, but they already said the villain for Aquaman is going to be Black Mantis.
But do you think for Aquaman 2, Ocean Master will be the villain?
That's a big actor to have him just come in and be like, hey, I'm going to be in the sequel. So
that's true. I mean, I was thinking maybe he could be in both, but yeah.
It's hard for me unless they do a kind of Thor where they're teaming up at first. It's them together to take down Black Mantis, and then come to find out at the end, Ocean Master's a villain. I feel like that's kind of silly, just like Thor was, because all comic book fans know, oh wait, you're the real villain here, actually.
That's true.
Same thing that happened with Green Lantern, you know what I mean? Although not a great movie, everybody's seen it.
Sinestro.
Don't make us like Sinestro, because we all know he's going to turn on him,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know where else they can go, because I think a lot of the main villains, like you're not going to see Joker. They're obviously going to save him for a solo Batman movie.
Yeah.
We're not going to see Gorilla Grodd, because he's probably going to be a Flash movie. So it's hard, because a lot of the big guys I want to see, I won't see. But
Correct. I would like to see a Solomon Grundy. That would be pretty neat.
Born on a Monday.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we can probably call it an episode there. We pretty much went over what we liked for 2017.
I could talk about Justice League for days.
We could probably do a whole episode on just Justice League.
Because Justice League is that, man. Do they keep the 2008 opening from the show for this new movie?
No. So that's going to be episode 3 for you guys. Thank you for listening. This is Will Zabo. Next week we'll be on as our usual time. We're going to post every Monday. Please leave a comment below. If you like it, hit that like button. If you don't, give us that thumbs down. Give us some feedback. And feel free to hit us up at theenthusiast0@gmail.com.
And I'm going to say my name because I was left out. Once again, also Justin Nazario, who was also on this podcast, because there's 2 of us.
Yes, there is. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Not as sorry as you were for, not inviting me to Star Wars last night, though. So awkward. We're still talking about it.
Get a bridge.